We want to thank everyone for joining us with this amazing interview that we're conducting with Mr. Phil Wilson of the Black AIDS Institute. We're hoping to shed light on where we are, the state of HIV and AIDS in America, where we need to go, and what's happening with money, public policy, and a policy on HIV on a national level here in these United States. And I'm happy to introduce you to Mr. Phil Wilson. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good, good, good.
How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Good.
I'm well. So today, I just thought the first question would be, would you please tell us about the Black AIDS Institute?
Okay. The Black AIDS Institute was founded in 1999. It is the only national HIV/AIDS think tank in the country that focuses exclusively on Black people. Mm-hmm. Our mission is to end the AIDS epidemic in Black communities by engaging and mobilizing traditional Black leaders, institutions, and individuals in efforts to confront HIV/AIDS. We do four things. We disseminate information, we offer training and capacity building, we analyze and make recommendations for both private and public sector HIV policy, and we do mobilization and advocacy from a uniquely and unapologetically Black point of view.
How did you get into this?
Well, I've been involved in fighting HIV and AIDS from basically the very beginning. Mm-hmm. In 1980, and I was a young Black gay man, and by 1982 there was this conversation about gay men dying from HIV. And I went in to see my doctor, and we discovered that I had swollen lymph nodes. One of the things that people talked about back then about HIV is that you had swollen lymph nodes. Mm-hmm. We didn't know any more about that. Shortly thereafter, I moved to California and got involved in HIV here. Back then, it was GRID, gay-related immune deficiency syndrome. I was involved in the very first candlelight vigil here in Los Angeles. And over the years, I've been involved in a number of aspects, founding of a number of organizations, including the Stop AIDS Project here in Los Angeles, the National Task Force on AIDS Prevention, which was the first national AIDS organization that focused on Black gay men. I was the AIDS coordinator for the city of Los Angeles under the late Mayor Tom Bradley. I worked at AIDS Project Los Angeles. I worked at the Gay and Lesbian Community Services Center. I was a presidential appointee under the Clinton administration. And then in 1997, I got very, very sick. And we did not know if I was going to survive or not. Mm-hmm. And so I stopped working and took time off from 1997 until 1999. With the advent of the new triple combination therapies, by 1999, I felt it was time to get back to work. And when I looked around and I looked at what had happened on the AIDS arena during my absence, what I discovered is that we had not made a lot of progress in really mobilizing traditional Black folks to respond to the AIDS epidemic. Mm-hmm. And that's why we created the Black AIDS Institute.
It seemed like the call to action amongst gay white males was loud and distinct, and their numbers went down. There seemed like there was a coming together, a force, if you will, that came together to combat HIV and AIDS. What is it about Black America at this time? Because I'm looking at posters and I'm reading, and I look at articles from 1999, and I look at articles from 2000, and there's the threat of a looming problem in these United States. And it's talked about, but it doesn't seem like there's anything that's necessarily happening to curb infection. And I don't mean that people aren't doing the work. What I mean is that the work is perhaps people aren't hearing, that the mobilization isn't as tactile or isn't cementing like the gay white male call did. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think you just said a lot. And so I'm not sure if I can agree with all of it, but I can certainly respond to some of it.
Okay.
Definitely, in the beginning of the AIDS epidemic, white gay men and the LGBT community of all colors, to be completely honest, responded in a robust and vociferous way. And that made a difference. In most communities and societies, there is a thing called the price of the ticket. And what does it mean to be a member of this society, whether we're talking about an LGBT society or whether we're talking about a black society or what we're talking about society of women or we're talking about a nation or a neighborhood or whatever. There often is developed, what does it mean? What is your obligation to be a part of this particular society? And in the mid-'80s, the gay community, the LGBT community, established that if you were going to be a part of this community, you had to do something to fight HIV. You either had to volunteer for an AIDS organization, or you had to work at an AIDS organization, or if you were a business, you needed to donate to an AIDS organization, or you were a media organization, you needed to write stories about HIV and AIDS, so that every institution in the community was engaged in some way. So no matter who you were, no matter where you were, no matter what you did, you were exposed to a message that said that there is a killer amongst us and we have to do something about it. And that kind of full frontal attack brought about change. There was a cultural change in the LGBT community and particularly in the gay male community. And that cultural shift changed the trajectory of the AIDS epidemic among gay men in America. That same type of mass mobilization